Can you please turn on your camera so it will be more comfortable to discuss things?
Yeah, yeah.
No, no, I'm asking other people to turn on
Okay,
cameras.
okay, okay.
So how is radiology residency treating you?
Uh, a radiology I have taken in Bangalore Medical College, so it is not one of the chillest, I would say. Like in other colleges, we enter into radiology thinking that it is going to be chill, but in Bangalore, it's not that. So yeah, but the exposure is really great. Like I wouldn't choose any other college. Good.
It's
Other
different,
than the fact that we are sleep deprived, I think every resident is.
but I from very few radiology resident I heard this, that they are sleep deprived, because there is in many colleges easy comparatively.
Yeah, yeah, in all the colleges, like there are very few, like you can, a handful of colleges are there where it's hectic. So I am in one of those.
Okay, so how can you start your journey? First of all, thank you so much for joining and taking time. And when your journey started, after when you started your NEET PG preparation, like after
Okay,
internship, how?
okay. So basically, I didn't even try to prepare during my internship. I just wanted to enjoy it and, just learn whatever the internship has to offer. And after post internship, I did start. After around, like I started in June. Like after internship ended, something around May 1st, everything ended. I started around June, but like June, July, I gave it a good amount of time. But after July, I had to take some 2.5 months of break because because of family issues, like my parents got ill and like I had to take care of that. So in June, July, what I did was I was going through revision, like Marrow revision videos, but it was like since I hadn't done it priorly, so it was like too huge or vast to get my head around it because there's this huge notes, like a lot of videos there. But I did like a reading, like just look over the entire thing. But then I had to take some 2.5 months of break, and then November INI was coming, and I returned back. Like the break was such that I couldn't even turn one page of it. So then I got back. When I got back time, it was around start of October and November. There was INI, so there was 1 month left, and then
24.
I start. Huh?
24.
Yeah, it was 24 November INI. No, sorry,
No,
not
23. No,
24,
23.
23,
Ah, 20.
23 November. Yeah. So it was 1 month there. So like at that point of time, I couldn't understand what to do. So like there was BTR bonus BTR that ma'am launched, I think some few months
Yes.
back. So I did both of them. So I couldn't do. I just did the main BTR and went for the INI. I had a decent rank, but not a rank that I can get anything
Okay.
because it's INI anyways. It was like it was some 2.5K, 2.6K. The rank was like that. So then the whole of November I took a break because it was like a lot for that year. And then I sat like I dedicatedly sat like for the preparation since December. So from December till I was almost ready for the exam till March. So that is how it went. Wait a bit, I think.
Sorry, yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
how the GT journey started? Means like you posted that on Instagram and it went viral. So सब कोई भाई
Yeah.
इसका कैसे हो गया? It's like चमत्कार हो गया. How this happened?
Yeah, so like one thing I could figure out key time is very short and a lot has to be covered because this 19 subject like it doesn't matter if you do BTR or division, the content remains the same always. But again, it's not the content is if we are well versed with the content or not. So that I figured out ki if I go forward in a forward direction, it is going to take a lot of time. So let's get on the backward direction. So even like when I started preparing, I started making sure that I knew the PYQs just for the sake so that like even when the start of my preparation I did my PYQs thoroughly. So that at least I know that whenever I'm doing a source, be it BTR, be it Marrow revision videos, whatever it is, I know what to focus on more. Because our brain capacity is this much limited. I can't take in like a lot of information. So at least I should know what is more important. So that is how I started. So initially when I was getting some 67, then some I guess 87 corrects. So then I didn't do, then it was like, oh, I was just starting out. I didn't do even the PYQs and all. After like I did my PYQs, that is when I started securing some 100 corrects, and thereafter like at towards the end I could figure out that for the range of marks there is a strategy. Till 100 there is one, 100 to 120 there is one. So for every 20 marks there's a like, it is an approximate although, so, but every 20 marks there's a little bit of strategy that you
There,
can follow in a near
there
test
are
to get.
many people who are even completed first reading, but still not complete getting 100 corrects. So like,
Yeah.
how should they go about it? Like when they start solving GTs, they give GT. Now they think to analysis, and this is every question we have to analysis now, because when we are getting such marks like 80 corrects or 75 corrects, it means every question is getting wrong only, because those who are corrected also we think we just get corrected by the guess.
Yeah, so there are two things to this. First thing being is initially when we do our preparation, no, we think that the content is the main. So if we are securing less a number of corrects, so maybe we are not like we are faltering in our content. But the problem being is we are not well versed with PYQs if we are less than like if we are scoring less than 100 correct, so we are not like clear with our PYQs. I'm not even going to the previous year topics. I'm telling the previous year questions. Okay. So we are not thorough with PYQs, and second thing being is we can't like give exams as per se. We have the knowledge back in our mind, but we can't apply to the questions. So till 100, the strategy being is you solve the PYQs. Don't skip the short subjects even. Because the first 100 questions, what happens is it like some the PYQs are given in some form or the other. If you analyze the whole 200 questions, at least in a GT, not in the main exam. In main exam, nobody can predict. But in GT, what happens is the first 100 questions, somewhere or the other, it is a twisted form of PYQ. So if you do the PYQ thoroughly, you read the entire explanation of the PYQ, you get an idea of what they're asking about. And usually every question or the other is centered about PYQs only. And I would suggest you don't do PYQ as a custom module. Right. Because the algorithm or custom module is such, I don't know how and why they keep repeating the same questions and they keep leaving the same
I think you
questions.
should tell it better because you are currently working it with Mero.
No, no, I was working. Right now, I am not working. So, when I used to do custom module as well, I saw that they are leaving some part of questions. The questions are never coming in the custom module, and some questions are getting repeated. But PYQ is something that you need to be thought of with each and every question. You can't manage to skip even one question. So that is one module that I think that everybody should do diligently. Even don't leave the short subjects. Because short subjects are such, no? कि usually,
Yes. How many years
yeah,
PGs?
uh, if the time is very short, you are starting out, start with 3 years. But if you are okay to do more, start from 2017.
Okay. Okay. And when you started getting your hundreds, and after, what was the revision strategy? Like you started, you just said that 1 month ago you started with BTR, and you got around 2.5K rank in INI-CET.
Yeah,
There
yeah.
are thousand many people are there, those who doing those things but not getting even like in 3 4 month preparation also. So like what differently you did with that BTR material? Because content is same for everyone. It's
Okay.
question solving skill is more good, or what? Like how you applied it.
Okay. So I can't say what I did differently, but I can say what I did.
Yeah.
Right. So at towards the end, what I realized, I'm going to say it now. It's more about ki how able are you to rule out options than how much knowledge you have. Okay. Like I know a lot of people who have brilliant rank, but they are like able to rule out, and they are like able to rule out options so beautifully, and there are people with huge knowledge but they have secured even further rank than that, right? So like how I give GTs, how I use GTs is usually I used to give GTs some previously to, like right now I would suggest there is time bound GTs, right? Okay. Right now, GT is more like a learning tool than a testing tool. Testing tool it would be when it is towards the near to the exam. Right now, it's a learning tool. So give the GTs which is not time bound now, because if you give the time bound slots, you have to sit for some 3.5 hours, and that takes a whole lot of time. So like you can give non-time bound GTs. You can do 1 2 3 4 till 200 questions, get finished with it, and then start with your reviews and all, so that your
Okay,
whole
new GTs we
GT.
can't do that, na?
No, for the new GTs you can't. So right now the focus is to learn how to solve questions rather than practicing. That is what I am saying.
Mm-hmm.
And then I used to give GTs towards the end of my day, not 9 to 12. Like, no, like when I was in the start of my preparation. Because 9 to 12 is not mandatory to give GT towards the end, while you are like, when the exams are near, some 1 to 1.5 months before the exams, you give from 9 to 12. But now you can give at, like, I used to give it in the evening after I'm done with my day, then I used to give. If I use, like, if you give some 9 to 12, no, what happens is the entire day goes for the GT. So, like I used to give in the evening, and there are certain things I would suggest is there's a thing called in the Marrow GT. When you are sitting down for GT, take a white sheet of paper or a copy with you. Don't mark any question for guessed correct or guessed questions. Why? For example, there is a question pemphigus vulgaris, right? DSG 1, DSG 2, 3, 4. You know it's not 2 and 4. You know it's 1 and 3 and hell confused. So you do inky pinky ponky and you mark DSG3, and then you mark its correct question, like guess questions. Okay. Towards the end of the exam, what you went and you saw, okay, array, this is the correct. I marked correct. Next time I won't get it wrong. But believe me, next time if the question comes again, you will again, like, you will have to do that inky pinky ponky, because you know it's there in your notes, but you are not being able to recall it. Like for such questions, what you do is you take a white sheet of paper. You write, for example, you are like confused with DSG1, DSG3. You write DSG1, DSG3, pemphigus vulgaris. Just write in a corner of it. Right. After the exam ends, the first thing before even contemplating, Array, I got 85 corrects, I got 86 corrects, whatever it is, just go through those topics from your notes and add it to your choti copy or 28th notebook. So that once what happens is this time, whatever mistakes you did or whatever questions you got confused in, so that next time you don't repeat it. So basically, from the questions that you are confused or getting incorrect, you are turning it into correct ones. Second thing being is from the start itself, get into a habit that you don't mark questions for review later. First, what happens is what like when we review any question later, we usually mark the correct option first and then we change it to the wrong option. It happens with all of us because we second guess ourselves and we don't go with our gut feeling and all. So if there is a question, for example, question number 4, you want to review later. In that paper, you write question number 4, I want to review later, and then you come back. Why to have this habit? Because if you in the exam, in the main exam, if you keep a question for review, it acts as a mental baggage. It like itches you at the back of the mind. Ki, that question is there. I need to review it. And but if you write in the paper, I don't know, psychologically it works like it doesn't add to the baggage of it. So in from the very first, have the habit of writing. Like don't put much questions for the review, and whatever you are putting, you just write it down and make sure that you like you can review it, not review it, and so make sure that don't change any option until and unless you find something new. For example, there's something not correct you haven't read, right? So if that is something, then you change your answer. But if there is something that you are very confused and you are like, "Ki, it was that or it was this," don't try to change your answers, because usually we try to get to the wrong, like first mark the right answer and then get to the wrong answer. And yeah, these are the things I'll tell if I remember something else.
So, like, how many questions you did your the entire day? Like after GTs, like you increase your questions per daily questions. How many questions you did per day?
Per day, there was nothing as such that like some set number of questions that I did. I did GTs a lot as a testing tool, like as a learning tool
Like you
itself.
around 100 GT approx.
Yeah, it was more than that. Like 100 GTs was in Marrow. So I
Okay.
gave the free GTs in dams and PrepLadders as well.
Since when you are giving those GTs?
I started giving GTs since that in November, like before that November INI, I gave quite a few.
You give
And from
more than one GT in a week.
Yeah. Definitely, it was more than one GT. Like towards the end, it was some three GTs in a week.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So because the thing being like ultimately it's the NEET PG is a question where you need to you know solve questions more than having the content in your mind. So GT is ultimately a tool that tests you ki if you can solve the question or not. So solving questions, question bank, TND, these were the things that I used to do usually, like
In
after the
evening
content
time
is
you
clear.
give, so it's helpful, na? Because in evening it will, your whole day will be not wasted, and you can give your GT in evening, so you can give more GTs, because many people are solving 100 to 150 questions daily. So instead you
Yeah,
can give GT also. It's new
yeah,
thing.
yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah, yeah.
great.
Actually, it's nice.
Yeah.
But again, it depends. If you're well versed with all the 19 subjects, give a GT rather than preparing a custom module on your own. Because again, the GTs are better prepared because that is prepared by some faculty and all. They put their brain into it to how to make it and all. So rather than making custom module yourself just give a GT. And
Hmm.
but if you're just versed with some particular subjects like anatomy, biochemistry, first subjects you did and you didn't do other subjects, then custom module is good.
So like you gave two GTs in a week, for example, two or three GTs in a week. So
Hmm.
like today you gave one GT. So you will review those GTs after 2 days. Next, because you do reviews or not?
So I used to review. So GTs I used to review. Usually I told no, I used to write the
Yes.
topics.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that things I used to take it in a choti copy. Choti copy is something that I used to do some 30 minutes every day. At
Okay.
least like 15 to 30 minutes every day.
How to
So
make this?
those
Yeah, it's very confusing. Like many people are found it very difficult to make.
okay. So choti copy is something that is a problem to make because it becomes a moti copy every time. And then it feels like कि इतना नहीं पढ़ा जाएगा साइड मतलब इतना मोटा कौन पढ़ेगा नहीं हो पाएगा ठीक है so you know give a dedicated page for every just एक page रखना है only one page for everything not the big subjects for anat biochemistry like the big subjects you keep some 3 to 4 pages like इस तरफ उस तरफ one page right don't increase it for ENT keep it one page the small subjects keep it one page and try to write as small as possible there itself so what are the topics to add you will get from the GTs that you are giving right so, like, there are certain things. How can you understand? First, so you do your content, then you do active recall. And then while you solve your questions, you understand that despite doing active recall and doing the content, I'm getting some questions wrong repeatedly. That you are going to figure out from your GTs and question bank. And those questions, for example, if I ask, like, for me, if you give a question from preterm labor or some timeline, I'll take the responsibility of getting it wrong. So those things, that is important, that is going to come, but you keep forgetting it. That you add in choti copy.
Okay, got it. So it was new for me. Like I never had this strategy to give 2 to 3 GTs, and I think yeah, it's great. Yeah. So like, what is
Yeah,
the
like
syllabus? Entirely it's rapid revision only. Then rapid and
yeah,
BTR.
no, I would say I left even rapid revision. Like
Only
first
BTR.
2 months, yeah, only BTR. First 2 months I did rapid revision, but the notes was huge and I had to study so much. And I was like, "Hey, let's take a shortcut. The BTR since small. Let's do that and get over it." While I did BTR and I was giving GTs, I could like comprehend key. It's not about the content again. It's about how well you know the content. So I just stuck to BTR. If there was topic, for example, I told no preterm labor is something that goes
So
over my head.
for example, you are planning a OBG revision. For example, you are giving like next 2 days for OBG. So how you
Yeah.
used to plan your day? What more
Okay.
things you do, like any test or any other test discussion videos from BTR or anything about OBG, for example, specifically?
Okay. So if I'm doing my OBG, if it is like the first time I'm doing my OBG, I never planned my reading or test and discussion simultaneously.
Okay.
If I'm doing my OBG today, I'm going to give the test and discussion at least 3 to 4 days later, so that I give myself time to forget and forget whatever you want to, and then you give the exam so that at least you have the you itch your like you poke your brain to think what was there in the content. So it kind of acts like a active recall also. Second thing being is I used to keep a lot like not only one subject per day, some two subjects. So that if we do one subject per day now, so when we if we for example we start with OBG and we end with psychiatry. By the time we reach psychiatry, we forget OBG, right? So there used to be two subjects per day. one major subject OBG that I would be reading nicely in the morning or so. In the evening, there used to be some 1 to 2 hours slot where I would be doing a revision from other subject. For example, if I'm starting with OBG and then surgery, third subject, fourth subject. So, and last May it is psychiatry. So it is going to be either way. So if I'm starting with subject number one and the revision I am going to do with subject number 19. So that I have every subject, like I have a touch with in touch with every subject. And since planning TND some 2 to 3 days later, again it is like it used to be all jumbled up.
So, okay. And how many revision you did approx total? And you
Okay.
did you edit your extra content from GTs to your BTR?
No, I used to like GT ka question I used to analyze. So
Okay.
if it's a recall based, total recall based or memory based that I'm getting it wrong, that used to go in 20th notebook. And that anyways I was to figure out because I used to write that topic in that white
No, I'm
sheet.
saying about like those things which are missing in BTR.
Missing in BTR, yes, I used to add in BTR.
Okay. Okay.
But there used to be very few. It's like most of the things BTR covers only.
Okay. Got it. Yeah. So my questions is finished, guys. You can unmute yourself and you can ask your queries. Feel free. Yes.
Oh, good evening, ma'am. Thank you for this insightful session. I had one
Good
question.
evening.
You said कि 100 तक जाने की एक strategy है and after from 100 to go to 150 there is one strategy. So can you elaborate on that, please?
Yeah. So from till 100, what happens is it's basically previous year questions. But again, people usually take it wrong. It's not previous year question ekdam se toto. You are like once you are done with previous year questions and then explanation, you are going to get till 100. But it's not only you are doing your previous year questions simultaneously, you are doing your notes also. From 100 to 120, once you give a thorough like you read of your notes, not even active recall, just ऊपर से was there in your notes, even your short subjects, you will get to 120. 120 to 140, it's a game of active recall and choti copy.
Okay.
Because that time you need to figure out ki, what are the things that you are forgetting. Like it might be different for me, it might be different for you. So you need to figure out that and you need to add to your choti copy. From 140 to 160, it's question bank. For example, there's a topic that you are very like weak in. For example, it was a pediatric, this heart diseases was for me. So go to that question bank, solve it entirely. Pharma, we are very weak at every, but there's some suggestions that I would give. For pharmacology, this is one subject that try to do the entire question bank because pharmacology is so huge. If we do stuff from start to end, it would never finish and we would never be able to recall and remember. But if we do the question bank, we would, for example, this is a very vague example, but it works every time. If a question has cephaloperazole in its option, just mark it no matter what the question is because it is going to be the answer. And this you will only understand once you do your question bank. So pharma is such a thing you will understand ki which for which drug what they want to ask, and there's a particular thing they want to ask for every drug, so that you are going to know once you're done with question bank. So till 140 to 160 is retrograde approach of your question bank. There's certain topics that you're weak at, you're like forgetting your concepts are not right. For example, there's a topic that you know it, but you are not being able to apply that knowledge into your question. So you get back to the video and see it once more. That is how it is. And from 160 onwards, it's how much you are able to rule out options, then how much you have the knowledge of it. After that, like it's smart work. Like after 160 onwards, it's smart work.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Welcome.
Any other?
Good
You can
evening, ma'am.
unmute.
Good evening.
Uh, Thank you for this session. Ma'am, my doubt was how many questions do we need to do on a daily basis and where to do?
Okay. So, what platform are you using?
Marrow, ma'am.
Okay, cool. So, initially, if you are starting out, just your priority should be to do the previous year questions. After you are done with it, you can go with selective question banks. You can either do question custom module of it, Like it depends on what you like doing. If you want a jumbled kind of thing, you can do custom module and try to solve at least 200 questions every day. Initially it will be like very hectic, 200 question nahi ho pa raha, this and that, but at the end ultimately GT is also a custom module of 200 questions. So at the end of, and try to give this question, do these questions at the end of the day when you are done for the day, tired and all, and you just do it and you finish it. So you can do a custom module of 200 questions, but if there's some topic or if there's something that you need to get your head over it, you do the question bank from it.
Some questions of all 19 subjects or subjects which we are reading now.
See, once if you are done with all your 19 subjects once, or if you are like nearing your, since you are nearing your exams now, I would suggest do all 19 subjects. Okay. But if there's certain subject that you are very weak at, then you can choose to do that subject more. For example, you are like, I was very weak at, no matter what I did, my optha was always at down. Couldn't help it. Okay. Even ortho, I like ortho was always down. So I used to make sure that I keep those things. But no matter, but it was anyways down only. It did nothing helped optha. So, if there's subject, for example, if there's obs, that is a problem for you. So try to keep obs more, or maybe someday, like today, if you did a custom model of all 19 subjects, tomorrow you take your weak subjects and all. So you mix and match. No need to be very stringent about the thing that if you're doing obs only, you will solve obs questions.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay.
Hello, ma'am.
Hello.
Thank you for the session. I would like to ask that how we plan our revision strategy for all the subjects in 1 month or short time period.
Okay. So if we are starting from today, you see the calendar when your exam is, right? Before exam, you leave 15 days for your last revision, right? So that is your final revision. Before your final match, you did do a test match also. ऐसा नहीं है कि you leave it for the last 15 days, we are going to score a छक्का there. ऐसा नहीं होता है. We need to do something कि हाँ, if we can make out in the last 15 days or not. So there's another last 15 days. And prior to that, you like, if you are starting now, you are taking some 1 month of time or 1.5 month of time to do your first read. Your goal should be to concise it so that you can get into 15 days zone. For me, what I did initially, my first read was some like 1 month, some 2 weeks, or something like 1.5 months. But later, later when I used to revise it, I used to try to concise it in first 3 weeks, then 2 weeks, then it was 10 days. So that is how you should plan. You should plan your last two revisions, and then you should go retrogradely and see how much time you are left with now.
Okay. And in the last 15 days, मतलब ऐसा हो जाता है कि क्या पढ़े क्या नहीं कुछ समझ नहीं आ रहा है. Then we get switched from our main content to short notes or what. So what should be the main content that we should read just before exam?
Okay. So last day में I'll tell my personal like क्या हुआ था. I thought कि I'll read first to last page of VTR. For like last 10 days I kept 10 to 15 some 11 12 days it was, not even 15 days, but some were like 5 days before the exam anxiety hit so nicely that I was not reading VTR, I was just flipping through the pages, कुछ अंदर नहीं आ रहा था. At that point of time, what helps you is your choti copy, because whatever notes you are studying from, there's a zone of what you know what you know. Nobody can take that from you. And there's a zone you don't know what you don't know. And that is the thing that you need to revise, right? And that thing you are already getting into your choti copy. So that is like, if you are reading your choti copy or 20th notebook, you're actually revising your entire like 19 subjects. So your strategy should be to get that revision of choti copy as many times as possible in the last 15 days.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am.
Welcome.
Hi, ma'am.
Hello.
Ma'am, thank you for being here. So I want to ask ki, as you said, ki 200 questions we have to do, but doing them is not a problem. Actually, the problem comes is reviewing them. Actually, personally, when I do a custom module, even of 50 questions, it doesn't take that much time to do, but it takes a lot of time to review. So how to deal with that thing? Because 200 questions, okay, we can set a slot of 2 hours, but for reviewing, it takes about 4 hours. So how to see like.
Okay. Okay, so if you're doing a custom module, first, like a little bit of shift of mindset is you take a good amount of time for solving the questions. Okay. What happens is we are in a hurry to solve the questions. Initially, when I started out, I was also like, jaldi jaldi khatam karke, we'll go to get to the review. But that is what we make the problem. Like problem starts there. If you are solving a question, custom module of 50 questions, make sure that you are reading each and every word of all those 50 questions. Right. So after you're done with it, you will see there's a significant, like significantly, it will change the number of incorrects you are getting. The problem being we get a lot of incorrects because a lot of times we don't read some option or we don't read another word or question or word. Excuse me, something like that. So after you're done with it, and even for the custom module that you are solving, you make a habit of writing those topics that excuse me, you are getting wrong. For example, you are solving a custom module of obs gynae. There is something there, for example, Swear syndrome and something that they have given you know is there in your notes, but you can't being able to recall it. You write it, you get it thorough with it, and just do the wrong questions. Just finish
Okay, ma'am. Thank
it.
you.
And that is what I said. Every time, no, if we do, there's a law. If you give a work that I will finish this work, I have the entire day. It will fill the entire day. But for that work, if you allocate just 2 hours of time, you can like finish that work in 2 hours of time. So if you start your custom module at 8 p.m. and you know you have to go to sleep at 11 p.m., no matter what, you are going to make sure that it ends by 11 p.m. because you have to sleep after that. So your the entire thing will be consolidated and you will be able to do it.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Welcome.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good
Congratulations,
evening.
first of all, and thank you for your insightful session. I would like to ask, you started with PYQs. So how
Yes.
you used to review it? Like, how much time you took, and how many times you revised those PYQs?
Okay. So when I started with PYQs, it wasn't like at this. If you are doing your PYQs now and versus the time I started PYQs, it is a bit different. When I started my PYQs, I just wanted to know the topics that is important. I didn't review it as such. Like from A to Z, I didn't review it. But after the first reading that I was doing, like while the first reading and PYQs, I was reviewing A to Z. And the number of times you said ki how many times we did need to do the PYQs. You are doing a PYQ. If you are getting it wrong, bookmark it straight away. Right. At the towards the end of your day, while you are going to sleep, it's not like that ki we get to bed and we go to sleep. Not none of us are so privileged.
True, true,
Some
true.
30 minutes, yeah, 30 minutes will spend sleep is not coming this and that. At that and while we are studying, we feel sleepy. So at that point of time, what you do is you scroll through all those bookmark questions. If you're getting it right, unbookmark it. If you're getting it wrong, just leave it there so that you can do it all over again. So that is how you do it. And if you're seeing again, like initially, once you do your PYQs, you're doing your big bookmarks, it will be thorough in your system. But some days later, like it won't happen like with you because it's March right now, and towards like your exam is in June, so it won't happen with you. But if it gets postponed and all, you might need a second revision. But because we tend to forget the usual things that we already remember, like it happened for us, it got postponed and all. So I have to do a second revision of PYQs because I was getting a lot of PYQs wrong.
Ma'am, did you do the like INI and FMG as well? Like for specifically for NEET, I'm asking the
I
PYQ.
did INI, yeah, I did INI, I did NEET PG. the
How
both of
many
them.
years of PYQs you did, like of INI? Or
See, you can do
2018
three.
it's given in Marrow, it's given from 2018. PYQs are given from 2000.
Yeah, do from
You did it
2018
all?
only.
And ma'am,
Yeah, yeah.
GT, how much time you took? Like you gave it in the evening, so how much like time you took to review it?
Okay. So, first question is yes, you do like try to do the entire of the question bank module that is like previous year question bank module that is there in Marrow, right? If you are very short of time, do 3 years. But if you have little bit of time, also squeeze in and do the entire question bank. Second thing being is you said the review. So I used to sit some around some 6:30 or 7 for giving the GT, and I never used to give like towards the start. So I never used to because it wasn't there also this time bound GTs. So like if we give non-time bound GTs, it used to finish by some 2:30, two
True,
hours
ma'am.
30 minutes of yeah, two
Yeah.
hours 30 minutes, 2 hours 45 minutes. Then after that, I used to take a break and give some half an hour or so for the topics that I used to write because those are the main things. Ultimately, those are going to increase your marks.
Yes,
You
ma'am.
give them a good amount of time, some 30 minutes, 30, 45 minutes, because those are the topics it wouldn't require much time. You know it's there in your notes. You even know where it is there. You just get confused. So write it in your choti copy, get it done. After it is done, then after that, I used to go to the wrong question, like questions that I got wrong. So the questions, like when you will be reviewing the questions that you are getting wrong, half of them already you know because you have written in those topics, right? And the rest of them, how you review it is, for example, there are four options. Okay. Option A, option B, you ruled out. Option C and option D, you thought the option D is the answer. But then while you are reviewing, you see option C as the answer. So you need to see both. Why option D is not the answer? Why
Why we are
option C is the answer? Yeah.
yeah.
Like option B, A and B, you are thought of it. You know your concepts are right, but ये दोनों क्यों गलत हुआ?
So
So
मैम
you need to
आप सिर्फ like you were focusing on the wrong questions only कि जो
yeah.
गलत क्यों हो रहा है and what was correct
हाँ.
तो आप ऐसा flip कर देते थे कि जल्दी जल्दी कर देते ये वाला
जल्द
ये
मतलब
correct था
एट
ये
एट
नहीं होता
एट टाइम्स तो करती ही नहीं थी जो करेक्ट हुआ है.
अच्छा रॉन्ग कर एंड मैम ऐसा आपने डेली का कुछ सेट किया था कि आई विल सॉल्व दिस मच ऑफ क्वेश्चंस लाइक कस्टम मॉड्यूल और ऐसा कुछ और यू वर जस्ट
No.
डूइंग द PYQs.
See, initial of my preparation, the focus one was on getting the content, like getting over the content.
So
ठीक है?
ma'am, content, how did you like discussed it with your friends or how did you like do it? इसको एकदम अच्छा कैसे किया है? Like mind
Okay.
में fit होना चाहिए ना वो पूरा तो how did you do it? Like revise कैसे किया उसको पूरा
आप
अच्छे से?
बताओ आप अभी कौन से फेज में हो? Did you give one revision of your content or you were just starting out?
Ma'am, I've read it and I'm trying to discuss it with my friends and study so that I'm
Mhm.
like able to retain it because alone I'm not able to do it.
So is it helping discussing with your
Yeah,
friends?
it is helping. Like some things they are telling, and it is so. Like, how did you do it? Like, you were studying
Okay.
alone.
No, I had a friend, like we used to discuss and all, but it didn't help us much, right? So, so we parted our ways. Like we were together only, studying together only.
Like
Me and
why?
Kajal.
Why?
So
What is the reason?
the thing is, what she knew, what I knew, the both the same things only, because we were studying together,
It is you.
right? Yeah. So and then there's another thing of activity called you teach it to somebody. So like as Dana ma'am tells, no, कि you teach it to the wall or curtain and stuff. So that seems very
How
stupid.
were
I,
you
I
teaching
couldn't
them?
I couldn't do that. Right.
So, like,
And
how
so
did you do it? Like, how much time you took in day to like read the subject and revise it?
okay.
How much?
So for activity call, it took a good amount of time. For every subject, I kept one day. Like I never kept 2 days. Like for surgery and obs gynae, you have to divide it because I was doing that BTR 1.0. So it was huge. For those two subjects, I used to divide it. Otherwise, I used to do it in one day. And for example, if I'm starting with Dharma, the first page of Dharma, there's unannotated BTR PDF you have.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
you should try to write. For example, there is this legs mnemonic. आफ्टर दैट फिलिग्रीन किधर था, इक्थायोसिस किधर था, सोरियासिस में इज वो इफ इट वर हाइपरकेराटोसिस पैराकेराटोसिस, आई यूज्ड टू ट्राई टू राइट some 20 to 30%, or sometimes if it I was like it was good, some 40-50% I could
Like
write.
you were
Then just I,
taking a notebook and try to recall it like through
yeah,
an PDF.
yeah, right, in the sense it's not writing properly, it's scribbling. Our
Huh.
mind works, yeah, our mind works in such a way, if you scribble and you try to think it, it retains more. So I used to try to scribble it, and then like only first page, right? So I used to see if some 20-30% I could retain, or maybe 40-50% I could retain, baki I couldn't. And then I used to like open the annotated and see. That time what happens is your brain, you try so much to recall it and you don't recall it, and then you see, Arey, this was there. Next time you recall all those things, like next time your retention power becomes some 70 to 80%.
True, ma'am. True.
Yeah, so this will take some time, but it is worth it at the end.
Ma'am, what was your like daily motivation? How were you focused? Like our
Oh,
focus.
believe me, I was not at all motivated. Every third day I took a break.
And what
Like
time
today
like you
tomorrow.
woke, at what time you woke up? Like how was your day? Like full day? How
Oh,
many hours?
oh, okay, I'll tell you. Initially, I was all pumped up. Ki I'll wake up at 4 a.m., do this and that.
And it
But
never
never,
happened.
never it happened.
Same,
So
same.
I had gave up. And then in like arams, I used to wake up at some 7, or sometimes it got better. Like towards the near of the exam, I used to get up at 6 and start my day. So I used to keep some 4 hours ka slot. I used to try at least. Not even I couldn't reach it, but at least I used to try reading through 4 hours. And 4 hours such, I used to divide every slot. For example, 4 hours I am doing obs gynae only. Obs gynae, there are 20 pages. I used to count pages.
Yes,
20
ma'am.
pages, 4 hours. So 5 pages in every hour. Like if my math, and the math is correct. 5 pages every hour. So some 2.5 pages every 30 minutes. Right. So the focus should be 15 minutes में मेरे को 1.5 pages करना है.
Okay, ma'am. Hmm.
ठीक है. So if you have micro targets, no. So you don't get bored. Otherwise, if you sit with those 20 pages for the entire 4 hours, it will
तो
feel like
सोना हो
eternity.
जाएगा बीच में कि क्या पढ़ रहे थे.
Exact, exactly. कि पूरा टाइम चला जाएगा, लेकिन वो 20 पेजेस कभी खत्म ही नहीं होंगे. So I used to keep 4 hour ka 2 slots. So like 4 hours, then a break, a good amount of like 1.5 hour of break. Again 4 hours, then again some 1 hour of break or so. Break मस्त लेती थी. उसके बाद सब रात में some 2 hours or so. That for choti copy, for doing questions, or maybe if I was doing GT and all, for that some 3.5 hours.
So
Ma'am,
this active
sleeping
recall,
time 12 to 6 is fine. 12 to 6 is fine. Sleeping time 12 to 6 till 12.
हाँ, like
बढ़िया है ना.
ठीक है, हाँ ठीक ही है.
ठीक है ना. Thank you so much,
हाँ,
ma'am. Thank you.
so this
just
you talk
try.
about
हाँ.
continue.
Try to make sure that you don't sleep 9 to 12. But what happens is, my one of my friends, she slept from 9 to 12, and in INI she was all full of headache.
9 to
Okay,
12
so
means?
this morning night she was an all nighter, like
Okay.
night owl.
Oh,
Okay, so don't try not to do that. Like come out of that zone.
okay. It's very tough. Like you told about the active recall part. Now, so you did that in every revision?
No.
Okay.
I so left it for the short subjects, because it was taking so much time, and short subjects 2-3 questions come. I didn't do it for them. I did it for the major subjects only: medicine, surgery, obs gynae, and the first year, second year subjects, even PSM, because the major chunk of questions come from those. Short subjects are such कि ऑप्था का जैसे होता है, 4 क्वेश्चन आते हैं, 2 क्वेश्चन टीचर्स को ही नहीं पता होते कि उसका आंसर क्या होंगे, और 2 क्वेश्चन आते हैं कि वो सबको ही पता है कि क्या आंसर होंगे. तो उधर ज्यादा एक्टिव रिकॉल करके लाइक टू मच ऑफ टाइम, इतना ऑप्था नहीं कर सकते.
फिर
तो
कंटेंट पर जब जीटी दे रहे, फॉर एग्जांपल वी आर गिविंग करेंटली मेरो जीटीज ना, तो ये पिछला वाला जीटी था, वो तो बहुत ही खतरनाक वाला ही था कि सारे डिप्रेशन में चले गए थे. तो उससे ऐसा लग रहा है कि मेजोरिटी चीजें आउट ऑफ बॉक्स आ रही है. तो फिर उसमें कैसे सिलेक्ट करें कि व्हाट टू ऐड इन बीटीआर, व्हाट नॉट टू ऐड, जो एक्स्ट्रा है उसमें से?
जैसे जैसे आप करते जाओगे ना, मतलब उसने मैं बोल रही हूँ कि आप यू लाइक स्टार्ट फ्रॉम प्रीवियस जीटीज. मैडम के प्रीवियस जीटीज इज लिटिल बिट रेपिटेटिव. Now GTs, they are trying to get into the mindset of what NEET PG and INI-CET frames, and every question is different. Every question is analytical. So once you are into that zone, when you are good with the like classical GT questions, then you understand these analytical things. These are also centered around those previous GTs only,
Okay.
just a fancy way.
Okay.
And that fancy way you need to crack.
Okay.
Okay. So for example, once a month you give that fancy GT, and how you give that GT is there are four options. Okay. Four options में there is one option you know कि इधर से question आता है, and usually teachers ask about those like that option only. Try to find कि if there is something relatable, there will be something relatable about that option only, because PYTs are not changing. Just the pattern of getting like asking it is changing.
Okay. Means start with the previous GTs. That is the better
Mm-hmm.
idea. Not complete the previous GTs, because anyways if you're targeting 50-60 GTs, then आपको पिछला देना ही पड़ेंगे. तभी जाके कितने GT तो नए है भी नहीं basically.
Number is not important. ठीक है. Start with the previous GTs for the sense कि आपको वो time zone में वो time bound आप you don't have to. अगर आप if you're sitting for some 7 p.m. in the night and you are giving us time bound GT, anyways you are ending at 10:30. उसके आगे आप review कर नहीं पाओगे.
वरना you 200 वाला easily you can complete it 2.5 hour में.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Nice. Any other question, guys?
Thank you, ma'am, for the session. I have a doubt, like now we'll be solving questions. Like what should be the strategy in the last 15 questions, last 15 days? Should we solve the questions or should we then focus on revising the content?
Okay. So the last 15 days should be solely on revising your content. Although DAMS may, sir ma'am once they took a session, they told ki we should give a GT in the last 10 to 15 days. But again, it's subjective. Like some teachers tell you should give, some teachers tell you shouldn't give. But the way the anxiety hits in the last 15 days, I think we can't give. Okay. So the sole, the sole target should be that you want to revise your choti copy as many times as possible, because that is going to be your gold mine. Ultimately, whatever you are doing right now is to build that last 15 days. And right now, get into a habit, no matter what question you are doing, try to rule out every four option, like sorry, three options, and just try get into the habit of ruling out no matter what question. If it is theoretical, you can't do anything about it. But if it is pseudo clinical, clinical, or somewhere interming like integrated, intertwined, just try to just rule out. At least try. No matter you get the question wrong, but have the habit of trying to rule out.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, so I think we have completed all the questions. Any more suggestion on like final point, how to play, how in last 3-4 months? Yeah, Rajni.
Okay.
Yeah, actually, ma'am, I have a doubt since you were doing 2 to 3 JTs every week. So, how did you revise your content and side by side reviewing your GTs? Like, I have a doubt regarding that.
Okay. So initially, when I started out, I didn't used to give so frequently. I used to give some one per week when I was doing my first revision and active recall. Once I was done with that, I consolidated my revision schedule in some 14 to like initially 21 days and after that 14 days. So once you are thorough with your notes, you will understand that there is a zone. I told you, no, there is a zone but you don't know. So that is going to be in your chote copy and you are already going to highlight in your BTR notes. And in subsequent revision, it will take shorter amount of time because you are going to read it selectively. Because what you know is no, it's like there's no point going over it again and again. So in a day, there used to be some integrated one subject, one big subject that is going to take a huge amount of time, one short subject. And then towards the end of like this used to be some from morning 7, like 6 or 7, whenever I wake up, evening 6, and after that it's used to be these questions and all.
Okay, okay, thank you.
Okay. Any final advice for next 3-4 months?
Yeah, like we tend to give a lot of advices and take a lot of advices regarding what to study, what not to study, but we tend to forget the main thing. Ki we don't give ourselves time. So even if you're preparing a schedule, make sure that you have ample of breaks in between. It's not ki I'll do, I'm a Zen mode, this is I'll do. No, it's not like, at least it wasn't possible for me. So keep little bit of breaks. For example, if you're doing there's a GT day, you're keeping it. So make sure you end everything by 2 p.m. Give your GT, finish your GT, and the evening you take off, even for 1 to 2 hours. Daily, I know it's a time when you will feel like exercising and all, it's like it's a waste of time. But if you take out even 30 minutes or so, you will understand the difference it creates, right? And third thing being, there's a video of Dr. Saurav in YouTube. So he told what the power of meditation. So he suggested that like you do 5 minutes per day. मैंने कहा ऐसे ही तो इधर उधर बहुत breaks लेते रहते हैं. Why not try? So सुबह उठ के I used to try this some 5 minutes of meditation and see how it goes. It really changes your mindset. So you know these are the things you should like give importance to as well rather than only studying. So you should make sure that you prioritize yourself also.
True. Thank you for saying this. I think this is most important thing which people do forget, and they think only studying is only important.
No, otherwise you will get burnt out. No. So
True.
initially, first 1 month it happened because there was no time for anything, no exercise, this and that, nothing. There was time. So it was always like this is happening, that is happening. But once you calm down, you settle down, you make time for yourself, you even study better.
Hmm. And one last thing, like when we are preparing for exam, like we होता है ना कि बहुत बार पढ़ लिया बहुत ज्यादा, तो फिर शाम को इंसान सोचता है, अकेला बैठा है तो कुछ तो सोचेगा ना कि चलो 6 मंथ बाद पीजी मिल जाएगी, फिर वहाँ ज्वाइन करेंगे. मैनिफेस्टेशन तो होती है हर इंसान की कुछ ना कुछ. तो जो व्हेन यू आर प्रिपेयरिंग, कुछ तुम्हें भी होगा इस टाइप की चीजें, एंड नाउ यू आर जॉइंड दिस रेडियोलॉजी. तो हाउ इज दैट फीलिंग?
मैंने तो एम्स दिल्ली मैनिफेस्ट किया था, वो तो हो ही नहीं. But ठीक है. But I got into a college with such an exposure. It's a great feeling. Like I always wanted to take radiology, and I was sure like there's no second option I am taking.
Okay.
So that is like when I started out, I saw like I and like my friend was sitting. उसको ऑर्थो चाहिए थी, मेरे को रेडियो चाहिए थी. कि फिर अपने लाइक रैंक खोल के देखा प्रीवियस ईयर, देख के कुछ अच्छा भी नहीं लगा क्योंकि रैंक का कट ऑफ बहुत कम था. So फिर but yeah, we wanted to get into the zone so that we can pursue whatever we wanted. So
Okay.
it's a great feeling. I'm very privileged that I can study this subject.
ओके. सो थैंक यू सो मच. अब काफी अमेजिंग सेशन था ये, मतलब इतने सारे इंसाइटफुल, आई थिंक मैंने पहले नहीं सुना है जो भी रिव्यूज थे सारे, खासकर जीटी वाला, क्योंकि हर इंसान आता तो वो एक ही चीज बोल के जाते हैं, बस जीटी देखो रिव्यू करो जाओ, जीटी देखो रिव्यू करो, ये सब काफी डिटेल में था. थैंक यू सो मच फॉर दिस सेशन. थैंक यू. बाय. टेक केयर. बाय.
Welcome. Bye bye. Good night.